don't think, Lydia, I don't think, can you hear me? I can't. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Catskills. I know. Lydia's going to turn it on now. Working on it. Okay. All right, I'm just going to project. I'm Jenny O'Grady-Giddy, the worship associate for this morning's service. My pronouns are she, her. A warm welcome to everyone, whether you're attending live in the sanctuary or on Zoom. Thanks to everyone who is assisting with today's service. Our hybrid services are made possible by our technical team. Tom Hackett is our Zoom host, and Lydia McCaw is our Sanctuary Tech Manager. Today, we're delighted to welcome our guest minister, Father Frank Alagna, recently retired minister at Holy Cross Santa Cruz Church in Kingston. That church also provides for the office of the UIDN, and when you came in, you should have received a leaflet provided by Father Frank about the UIDN. If it's still not working, I think maybe I should try this
The handheld. The handheld. We have a handheld.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's under the.
Yeah, let's try that one. All right, let's see about this one, Lydia. I think it's on. It just needs to be turned on over there. All right, well, I'll carry on with the announcements. Whoa. Okay, so which one is on? This one seems to be working, but then let's see if this one's working. All right. Okay. Are we going back to this one? No. All right. I'll carry on reading the announcements and you carry on. Yeah. After the service, for those attending via Zoom, please stay for our breakout rooms for a virtual coffee break, and for those of you staying here for our social hour in the sanctuary. Thanks to Kristen for doing the social hour today. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religious faith that carries no creed and welcomes all seekers. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. I'm going to try and use this one, Lydia. It seems to be working better. No? We are guided here by a set of principles and written sources that encompass the many ways we come to know and understand the world, the universe, and the divine. Our principles are important to us at UU Catskills, and we strive to live our values on a daily basis. So, what's the consensus? Shall we give up on this one?
We should do that one because that one goes on the most.
Yeah, I don't think this one, that our sanctuary is built on Lene Lenape land, we affirm that Black Lives Matter, and we're a welcoming congregation for the LGBTQ community. We are a congregational affiliate of the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network, and we're an active voice in the effort to address climate change. A special welcome to all our visitors with us today. If you are in person in the sanctuary and would like to introduce yourself, please raise your hand, as we would love to say hello and welcome you personally. If you would like to share your pronouns, feel free to do so. Is there anybody here who would like to say hello? If you're on Zoom, you can write your name in the chat and put your email address so the welcome committee can contact you afterwards. Each Sunday, the Social Action Committee will offer a social action moment to the congregation. This will be a way for congregation members to participate in social justice work in our congregation and our community. Today's moment for social action, recognizing the interdependence of life on earth and the accountable pursuit of justice, equality, and compassion, is central to creating a thriving world community. Please check out the SAC board in the hall for social action ideas and opportunities, and you may borrow a book from our shelf. Another announcement: upset over the crisis in Gaza and Israel? Learn about the issues at a teach-in this afternoon at 2 p.m. at the New Paltz United Methodist Church, entitled Yearning for Justice and Peace in the Holy Land. The panel features a student rabbi, a dual Israeli-American citizen who fought in the Yom Kippur War, and a Palestinian woman whose relatives live in the West Bank. UU Catskills is a co-sponsor of this event. Another announcement: Interfaith Thanksgiving service will be on Tuesday, November the 14th at 7 p.m. It will be held at Congregation Emmanuel, 243 Albany Avenue, Kingston, and the occasional choir will be a part of it. And yet another announcement: next Sunday, November the 19th, please stay after service for a workshop with Michael Richardson of Rivers and Mountains Green Faith Circle to learn ways to move your investments away from fossil fuels and into building a better world. And do we have, there's one more. Coffee hosts are needed for Sundays in December and beyond. Please see Kathy DiMatteo for more information. A reminder that people of all ages, children, young and old, are welcome here at UU Catskills, and there is space across the hallway for anyone who would like to hear the service while being able to freely move about. Our prelude this morning is the Lament in Tremolo form by Lorindo Almeida, played by Catherine Catabiani. Please join me in our chalice lighting. Do we have a chalice lighter? Come on up. Why don't you light it and then pass it on so each of you can hold it. Just pass on the light. Pass it on. And if you'll come and light the candle up here. That's it. Well done. Thank you, chalice lighters. If you could read with me. We light this chalice in grateful, loving community. Even in the darkest of times, may its flame light paths to courage, justice, and hope. And now let's read the unison affirmation. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love to all living beings. May we know once again that we are not isolated but connected in wonder and joy, to mystery and miracle, in the universe, in this community, and in each other. This is a reading from the book of Leviticus. When a stranger sojourns with you in your land, you shall not do him wrong. You shall treat the stranger who sojourns with you as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Our opening hymn is number 305, De Colores, and we're going to sing it in English and French and Spanish. stones in the bowl for all the concerns, spoken and unspoken. Now it's time for a prayer meditation led by Father Frank.
Good morning, everyone. I pray that I choose the right microphone. There's one down there, one here, and I have one in my pocket. Is this one working? Yes. Okay, good. For our meditation this morning, I've chosen a reflection created by Blessed Oscar Romero, the Salvadorian Archbishop who was murdered at the altar. It's a reflection on the kingdom of God. It helps now and then to step back and take the long view. The kingdom is not only beyond our efforts, it is also beyond our sight. This is what we are about. We plant seeds that one day will grow. We water seeds already planted, knowing that they hold future promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide yeast that produces effects beyond our capabilities. We cannot do everything, and there is a sense of liberation in realizing that. This enables us to do something and to do it well. It may be incomplete, but it is a beginning, a step along the way, an opportunity for God's grace to enter and to do the rest. We may never see the end results, but that is the difference between the master builder and the worker. We are workers, not master builders, ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future, not our own. Sisters and brothers, it is not for us to strive for success. The victory belongs to God alone. It is for us to be faithful. If we are faithful, we are already successful. So let us remain faithful. Let us remain faithful as we continue our journey into God's tomorrow and the coming of his kingdom in its fullness. Amen.
Can you hear me with the mask or not? Okay, great. This is a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you are blessed by my Father. Inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." Then the righteous will answer him, saying, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visited you?" And the king will answer them, "Truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me."
It's time for the offertory. Through our half-plate donations, we contribute to local organizations who are living our values in the work they do. And these are the 7 local organizations we support: Seed Song Farm, Center for Creative Education, Hudson River Sloop Clearwater, Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative, A.J. Williams Myers African Roots Center, Hudson Valley LGBTQ+ Center, Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. And our offertory today is Peace, Salam, Shalom by Pat Humphreys and Sandy Apatow, sung by the Occasional Choir.
Peace, salam, shalom. 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 We believe in 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 peace, salam, shalom. We will work for 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 peace, salam, shalom. We will live for peace, salam, shalom. We will live in peace, salam, shalom. We will live in peace, salam, shalom. We will live in peace, salam, shalom. We believe 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 in peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom.
I want to begin by thanking Jenny Giddy for inviting me to speak to you today about the global migrant crisis and how the resounding wisdom of our faith traditions would have us contour our response to it. And I want to thank this congregation for the support you have given to the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network during these past 7 years. For sure, mass migration is a challenge. and one that is not going away. And the border is everywhere, everywhere. There are no easy answers, but I believe there is a simple solution. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Building walls, real and metaphorical, and creating obstacle courses that can never be a preferred solution. And certainly not for people of faith who relate to God in any authentic way, or who are grounded in the essential requirements of our shared humanity. For if we initiate a response from a place of self-preservation, self-interest, and fear of the stranger, we can go nowhere that is wholesome or holy. A faith-informed solution must be built on a sense of human solidarity that puts the dignity of the human person and the satisfaction of basic human rights and needs first. As I've listened to the stories of immigrants over these many years, the one thing they have in common is the experience of desperation. All are fleeing their homes because of violence and threats to life, political or religious persecution, economic hardship, sex trafficking and abuse, the effects of global climate change, or a combination of these many devastating forces. A month ago, 2 Venezuelan families arrived in Kingston. We took one into our home, and another UIDN volunteer took the second. While they were our guests for a few weeks, they shared some of their story with us. Jesus and Yanetsi left Venezuela with their 5-year-old son, Jose Manuel, 7 years ago. The baby was born with a compromised colon. Jesus worked construction in Venezuela and was paid $20 a month. There was no medical intervention available for this child in Venezuela. They traveled to Ecuador. Jose Manuel was hospitalized, underwent a botched surgery that left him in a coma for 16 days, and resulted in the child's having to live with a colostomy bag for the last 7 years. This past Monday, I drove Jose and his mom to Albany Medical Center, where a kind and enthusiastic, compassionate pediatric surgeon provided hope that this situation could be remediated. Ephraim, Jose's 6-year-old brother, is all sweetness and light. But on their 2-month trek from Ecuador to the border, mostly on foot, Ephraim often asked his father when they would get to where they were going. His father would always say, "Soon." In response, Ephraim would always tell his father that he was lying. All migrants are searching to find safety and the possibility of a sustainable life for themselves and for their families. When they make the treacherous journey to borders in the hope of finding these, the welcome, as you know, is uneven and often infected with racism and xenophobic nationalism. Too many nations, including our own, are severely compromised when it comes to offering a caring and compassionate welcome. It is not because we do not have the resources. Rather, it is because we do not have the will. We engage the immigrant from a place of fear rather than the risk that love requires. We choose to give priority to our own needs for security, speak in terms of immigrants being a threat. We create pathways that are more accurately described as obstacle courses, and even descend to committing crimes against humanity, for example, by separating children from their parents and putting those children in cages. For those fleeing violence, a point of possible entry can itself be a place of violence and exploitation. The U.S. immigration system is severely broken, and there is no directed and concerted effort to repair it. What is put in place and maintained is this obstacle course that ensures continued victimization and exploitation. For example, asylum seekers are admitted, but they are not allowed to work until their court date, which might not be scheduled for 12 to 18 months into the future. Or unaccompanied minors find employment in chicken processing plants, where they work long hours in violation of child labor laws. After the 2016 presidential election in the United States, it was clear that the landscape for the undocumented would become more difficult, more unsafe, and more threatening. A few weeks after that election, I was at a vestry meeting in my parish. One of our Latino members shared that his 9-year-old nephew had come home from school that afternoon and told his mother that he was not going to return to school tomorrow. As a matter of fact, he was never going to return to school again. When his mother asked him to tell her what was troubling him, he told her that a group of his peers had cornered him in the hallway and told him that he didn't belong here and that he would soon be sent back to where he came from. The boy was traumatized by this hateful assault. A few weeks later, I found myself having to advise our Latino congregants that they needed to fill out documents that would indicate to whose care they wanted their children entrusted should they not return home from work one day because they were picked up by federal agents for deportation. These poignant experiences moved me to ask the Kingston Interfaith Council to join with me in petitioning the Kingston Common Council to declare Kingston a sanctuary city as a way of letting our undocumented neighbors know that they were not alone and that we cared. The issue was raised for discussion at the December meeting of the Common Council. As might be expected, while there were strong voices of fierce opposition, public support greatly outnumbered these. In January, at the January meeting, the resolution was passed by a majority of the council members. The resolution meant that local law enforcement agents could not act as federal surrogates for ICE. It then occurred to me that if the city so declared itself, then our houses of worship might operationalize traditional sanctuary. Those being pursued for deportation could shelter in a synagogue, mosque, or church. I called a meeting of the clergy for the first Saturday in February in 2017. At a town hall meeting the night before, I extended an invitation for those interested to come to that meeting. That Saturday morning, while I was expecting 24 or so clergy, the parish hall was filled to overflowing with 140 people. A conversation began that transformed my rather modest idea of implementing traditional sanctuary and grew it into the many ways we can offer our undocumented neighbors an environment of radical hospitality. By identifying those times of increased vulnerability, like driving without a license. At the time, as you know, it was not possible to get a license if you were undocumented. We could provide drivers, or anticipating a deportation raid and sending a rapid response team to ensure that the rights of the individual being targeted were not violated. During the meeting, I had asked those present to provide me with their contact information. At the end of the meeting, I found myself standing there with a pile of papers in my hands, and I was wondering, what the hell am I going to do with this? The next thing I knew, someone came up to me, took the contact information out of my hands and said, "Father, I'll take care of that." And that is what has happened again and again, as one talented and resourceful volunteer after another has stepped up to the plate and taken care of one area of service after another to meet the needs of those who come seeking our help. The Ulster Immigrant Defense Network was born that Saturday morning. Many of our volunteers are retired professionals who bring a treasure chest of competency to the table. Early on, I wondered how I was going to stay on top of this developing effort, and had the delightful awakening that I didn't need to, because these folks knew what needs to be done and take charge of and organize one service after another. As part of the traditional sanctuary piece, it was necessary to identify homes into which we could move individuals after a short-term stay in a house of worship. About 18 folks presented as willing to take this risk. I met with these generous people and made sure they understood the possible consequences. You see, while a house of worship would not be in legal jeopardy for offering sanctuary and could count on some measure of invulnerability in the government not wanting the optics of its invading sacred spaces, the same was not true of private homes. A private citizen offering sanctuary would be liable to criminal prosecution. After explaining this, I asked each person at the table if and why they wanted to proceed with this risky commitment. Christians at the table said that this was meant to be a disciple of Jesus. Our Jewish friends said that it was their turn to respond as did the righteous during the Holocaust. And those who had no faith connection simply said that their very humanity compelled them to do so. I will always remember that meeting. I experienced it as an opportunity being given to me to be in the company of saints. We can spend our time lamenting this global nightmare, or we can step up to the challenge of making a difference. We can bring light where there is darkness. We can offer hope where there is despair. We can offer compassion where there is indifference. We can bring love to bear where hate appears to have the ascendancy. I believe that supporting refugees anywhere is to support refugees everywhere. To the extent that we allow ourselves a sustained awareness of this global crisis, but do not allow ourselves to follow through with action, with the understandable impulse to tune it out because it is just simply too much to bear, we fail. We fail as human beings. But if we participated in what can be seen as a hopeful and expanding global heart that beats with a love that spurs action for the sake of those who are in such great need and even peril, we realize the best in our humanity. As we think globally on the plight of refugees, it is imperative that we act locally for the plight of refugees. For the last 7 years, UIDN and its many volunteers and supporters have been doing just that. The population we are serving is always expanding. In the fall, for example, of 2021, we were providing for about 80 families and their needs for food, clothing, rent and utilities assistance, transportation to and from mandated appointments and court dates, legal consultations, legal support, and health care. Last month, 245 families came to our weekly food distribution program. We have recently expanded our services beyond meeting basic human needs and are developing what I called at one point an academy for immigrants that will provide those educational inputs that will enable our friends to be their own best advocates in the process and equip them with self-empowering training opportunities, such as training in developing migrant-owned cooperatives. A few months ago, we launched the first of those when this group of 16 women who had been trained in cooperative development chose their name. They chose the name to be the Blooming Queens of Clean. And they've been launched and they're beginning to build their client population or clientele. For me, the words of Jesus compel my response. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I trust that there is something for and in each of us that would compel a compassionate response to this need. And so today I would like to invite as many of you as possible to become sustaining members of UIDN. There's a QR code on that piece of paper that you were given. It will take you immediately to the page for sustaining donors. If you're able, please consider seriously becoming a sustaining donor. And that's one way. I know the congregation as a whole supports this effort, but you as individuals can support this effort as well. That's one way to do it. Another way that I'm offering to you today is to let me know if you want to be a volunteer. We have a coordinator of volunteers who will help you determine how and best and where you might provide your voluntary service. If you want to do that, just give me your name on a piece of paper and your contact information, and we'll be in touch with you. And once again, I want to thank you for inviting me here this morning. Thank you for what you have done on behalf of being a loving solution to this problem, and hopefully we can continue to work together in a spirit of love and compassion and commitment. God bless you.
Thank you, Father Frank. Father Frank will stay here during coffee hour, and I'm sure we can find paper and pencil so that you can hand your name and contact information to him. It's time to sing hymn number 318, We Would Be One. I think the hymns have been very appropriate this morning, Catherine. Closing words from Paul's letter to the Hebrews. Let brotherly love continue. Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. Remember those who are in prison, as though in prison with them, and those who are mistreated, since you also are in the body. If you could read the words with me. We extinguish this flame, that not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Please join us for coffee and snacks. Thank you all for coming.